everybody. Wanted to cover this crazy story out of Missouri where a plane crashed today, and I had heard about it earlier today. And it's kind of a weird one because 11 skydivers are deceased, 11 plus one pilot, so 12 people. And it says that there was reports that indicated it was 9 experienced pilots and 2 first-time tandem jumpers. So that's kind of crazy too to think it's for 2 of them it was their first time. And the other thing with this, so this was in Missouri. It happened at the Butler Memorial Airport. Butler Memorial Airport. Um, the plane, which I saw Alan sent me a message. Let me get a picture up of the plane, and I'm gonna play the press conference for you guys. Um, Let me show you the plane right here. Okay, that's the plane, and this is a Pacific Aerospace P750 or PAC 750 XL. This is commonly used for skydiving. Um, Alan said the very odd looking aircraft. It had been on 2 previous runs that morning. Oh, I didn't know that. So before the incident, the plane had already done 2 runs that morning. Both flights lasted around 18 to 20 minutes. I wonder what went wrong. And the crazy thing too is that they say reportedly that there was at the crash there was family there. I guess they were waiting and watching the whole thing happen, and they watched some victims, family members were at the airport and witnessed the crash. So that's even horrible to think that, your family members are there, they're waiting for you, they're watching, they want to see the skydive just to watch the plane crash. The specific aircraft was a 2010 model. It was registered to Sky High Aero, based in Tennessee, and was being operated by the company Skydive Kansas City at the time of the crash. It's a single engine turboprop. It's a very popular skydiving plane. It has large side doors. Apparently, I don't even see that there. Oh, it must be on the other side. Large side doors, strong climb performance, and I saw. I guess somebody in the chat earlier had said like, how does skydivers die on a plane? Well, it happened right after takeoff. It didn't get too far up in the air. I had read, let's see here, happened around 11:30 this morning. The plane wasn't able to gain or maintain proper altitude after takeoff. It made a sharp left turn, and apparently, I I guess it's speculated that it made a sharp left turn, maybe to try to come back to the airport. It crashed in a grassy field adjacent to the airport, roughly 200 to 300 yards from the runway. So one of the things I didn't know for a long time, I didn't realize that the most dangerous time for a plane is taking off and landing. I thought it was when you're up in the air and that's the most dangerous time. No, it's when you're taking off and landing. So there's nowhere to go. Skydivers in the plane, it barely gets off the ground and they crash. And it's deemed a mass casualty incident. Horrible, horrible situation. One of the first thoughts in my mind was like, did they have too much on the plane? So supposedly the plane's maximum gross weight, if it's the 750 XL, it's typically around 7,500 pounds, depending on the configuration. So I don't know, 12 people on board. Then you got to, the fuel, parachutes, gear, weight and balance sometimes. Sometimes it's just the balance. Weight and balance is probably going to be one of the areas that they're going to investigate. Just crazy, freaky, sounds like freaky accident. Let me play the press conference here that I had from earlier. I think they just did one about an hour ago. And by the way, I just want to say, in the chat, I don't know where she was at earlier. Somebody had said it was their son that was on that plane. So condolences to you. If you're still watching, I know the chat was a little nasty. Let me put on this press conference here to see what they have to say. Oh, hold on a second. Okay.
Pat Anderson. I'm the sheriff of Bates County, Missouri. With me is Jarrett Reno. He is the Bates County coroner. Today at 11:30 this morning, we had a plane crash on the property of the airport. We are treating that as a national or as a mass casualty. We want to be very clear, this is not a commercial airliner that has crashed. It's a local airplane that took off from our local airport. It's been here. It's not something that travels. It's not a commercial airline.
But I also read that the airport was like I think it was an unmanned airport. Like there's no tower control, I believe.
And that's important to know. So off from our local airport. It's been here. It's not something that travels. It's not a commercial airline, and that's important to know. So right now it's early on. I know you guys have been here for a couple hours. Not a whole lot of questions I can answer as to it's still an investigation. The investigation is going to be handled by the NTSB and the FAA. Who the FAA is here on scene. The NTSB is not yet. We're waiting for them to get here and for them to do what they do. So I know you got a million questions. Please, I apologize if I'm not able to answer those. We're still trying to identify family and make notifications, and so we're going to be respectful of that. And but we wanted to give you something before you have to go out and find all your own information. So if you have a few quick questions, again, please forgive me if I can't answer those, and I just can't. So.
Sir, can you confirm the number of people that have passed away? We've heard already, but can you just reconfirm that for us?
I know there's less than 20. How's that? I can't give exact numbers yet, so we're not sure.
And what was this plane doing today? What was it, skydiving operation, is that right?
Yes, we believe so.
Okay. And give me, if you don't mind, did the plane take off?
The plane took off, and then at that point, it went down. We're not sure exactly anything beyond that.
How long was it in the air?
I do not know that.
Man, I know there's family here. How are you consoling family?
So we have brought extra staff in, clergy to be with the family, and they've got a staging point farther down, closer to it. Those numbers are increasing as we stand here and talk. You can imagine with multiple people, multiple agencies have responded, from fire departments, from the coroner's office. Multiple coroner's offices have reached out for assistance, and multiple fire departments were on scene along with ambulances. So,
yeah, with a mass casualty event like this, what are the next steps here? What do you have to do?
So the next steps is we let the NTSB do their investigation with the FAA, in coordination with them. At some point, we'll get the green light to start recovering those families' loved ones and getting them positively identified and then turned over to the family at their wishes.
In May of 2024, there was a skydiving plane crash. Is this the same company? Do we know?
I honestly don't know that at this point.
Can you confirm the company's name?
I honestly don't know who owns the airplane.
Okay. Do you know the tail number at all?
No, sir.
Okay. How do you console family on a day like today?
What do you know?
We just try to be there for them, answer as many questions as we can. When we know them, we don't want to give them information and turn out later that it's wrong. And so we just want to make sure that they're comforted. We have multiple clergy people here. We have multiple volunteers that's tending to any needs that they have, or as much questions as we can answer for them early on.
Were there family members here that were witness to this?
There were witnesses that were family members, yes.
What do you say? What do you say to them?
Our hearts go out to them. There's nothing we really can say to make it better. We just pray for them and their loved ones and their friends and their family, and hope that they can recover to some sense of normalcy if we can. So, and same thing with the first responders that respond to these kind of incidents. We pray for them and acknowledge what they have to go through, but that is nothing compared to what the families are going through right now.
Do we know if anybody that's from out of town that came in from the World Cup went out there today? Do we know who was up in that plane?
I do not have any of that information. We don't believe it has any connection to the World Cup.
How long do you expect to be on scene here?
Maybe 2 days.
2 days. Right. Is there anything else that you want to get across based on what's happened here today? This is the call nobody wants to get.
Yeah, it absolutely is a call nobody wants to have on any day. And we just want to reassure the public that there's nothing criminal that we can see, nothing terrorism related or anything like that. Those are some of the first questions that we would have with the World Cup being in town. And we just want to make sure that the public knows that they're safe. And this, for all intents and purposes, appears to be an accident.
Is there any sort of place where community members, I'm sure community members may want to help in a situation like this. Is there any sort of organization for that?
At this point, we have the sheriff's posse is here working with the families, making sure that they've got somebody there 24 hours a day, and we'll be there for them. But as far as the community involvement, there's not really much left that we can do on the community base other than pray for these guys, pray for their families, and just be strong.
You said 2 days. Will the airport be closed for 2 days as well?
The airport will be closed for an undetermined amount of time. That's up to the NTSB and the FAA, and so will the highway here. As long as they're out there, this highway will be closed.
I know that there's little information, but is there any age ranges for the victims today?
And I honestly don't know that. I haven't gotten that information yet.
What does that response entail? I mean, first call comes in. How do you respond to an incident like this?
So 911 call comes in, plane goes down. Obviously, we start sending everybody, every fire department that's within 15 miles. We don't know what we're getting into. We don't know the type or the style of the plane initially. We get on scene. There is a fire, so the fire department goes to work. Law enforcement starts showing up. We have multiple ambulances coming in, people called out. And so massive response in the beginning, and then we start peeling that back as we move along and say, hey, there's nothing more we can do until the investigation comes to play. And we want to thank our neighboring communities, our neighboring fire departments, and all those that have called, other sheriff's office that called, PDs that have said, hey, we have staff if you need it. We can come just be support for your staffing and the public in general. So we appreciate those calls for assistance. I don't have that information.
What time did they call me?
11:30, 11:27 to be exact, I think is what they told me.
Do we know what time the plane took off?
I do not have that information.
Oh, you're an hour away from there?
Thank you.
Any other questions?
That's the thing that I was reading too. No air traffic control over there. Damn. Let me play another clip here. That's just a wild situation. I don't know. I'm kind of curious too about the reporter asking about a 2024 incident. Was it the same company? I'm going to see if I can find anything about that.
In whatever way possible, try to make contact in the next couple of hours with the National Transportation Safety Board to make sure that the victims' families here have the resources they need, whether it be counseling, whatever we can provide them to get them the answers in a timely fashion. The answers are not going to come overnight. As you know, with these investigations, they take months, sometimes years. But we want to comfort the families. We want to give them the support that they need. And we also want to find out exactly what happened.
What do you say to families on a day like today?
You know, this is tough. It's a beautiful day here. Blue skies, green grass, people out enjoying something that I think some of these were first-time skydivers preparing to skydive in a tandem formation. Not a lot of them, my understanding, were experienced, but just getting to enjoy God's green earth and then have something like this turn so tragic while potentially other family members were watching. It's tragic, and you can never replace those lives, but we can tell their stories. You can tell their stories as you get to know the families and eventually interview them, but also follow this through to make sure that we find out why tragedies like this happen and try to keep them from happening again. That's part of the role of the federal government through the FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board to do an accurate assessment and accurate investigation. And if there are any flaws in what happened that was, whether it's human or mechanical, we need to find that out.
Mark, with something like this happening before, and you mentioning those safety guards that you guys have to take, I mean, like, what specifically do you think that you can do for your constituents when it comes to legislation?
Well, I think the biggest part of it is communication. To have this open door that we have in our 4th Congressional District, our offices, our district director, we're very communicative. We try to make ourselves available at any time, 24/7 to our constituents. And I think that's the biggest role that we're going to be able to play. Sometimes it's hard getting in touch with the federal government up in Washington, D.C., And we've played a role in the past in making those connections, and we plan to do that in the future, and especially with these families to, again, get the answers that they need to move forward and to heal.
How did you hear about it today? And what were you feeling?
I got a text from Scott Lemaster, who's on the scene here. He runs a nonprofit called Taking It to the Streets, and I used to feed homeless with him in Kansas City, and now he helps out first responders with mobile units with bathrooms and food and things for the victims' families and first responders, and he's on the scene there, and he goes to tornado scenes and all over this region. A great servant and friend of mine, and that's how I found out about it. Anything else? Thank you. Appreciate you being here. You know, I guess the protocol is Chad Anders, great sheriff. The NTSB will be taking over at some point, but they won't be here for 2 to 3 hours. But I'm going to stay here on the scene, and I will try to help facilitate the communication. They do a very good job. They have their own public relations person that comes in, but I'll help because I know your needs, especially for deadline times, and I will try to help you however much possible, okay?
This is the same
Missouri with me. Not a whole lot of questions I can answer on it from hearing on.
Same thing, yeah. Yeah, horrible situation, man. Condolences to all the victims and families. There was I did see that there was an incident back in 2024. May 25th, 2024, there was a skydiving incident at the same airport on a Saturday. The aircraft was a Cessna U206C Super Skywagon. And during the skydiving flight, one of the skydivers had an emergency reserve parachute deployed prematurely while the jumper was moving towards the exiting door. The parachute struck and damaged the horizontal stabilizer, which is nuts, the tail section of the plane. The plane lost control. The pilot and all 6 skydivers successfully parachuted to safety. The plane crashed in a nearby field and was declared a total loss. No fatalities. And it was like a freak accident, I guess. So that's what, and it was the same company. So that's what the reporter was referring to. With this situation, though, the plane barely even took off. So really sad, really sad.